UHF channel. And then you'd spin the small little dial at the bottom, and you could pick up Kung Fu Network or Kung Fu Channel and Kung Fu Theater and watch some really cool black and white Kung Fu. And now, we were discussing about the fact that we're able to do a podcast right now and record audio and video and be able to stream to you guys from anywhere in the world, and it's just amazing. And I was kind of curious if Dad, what he thought about what his mom would say if she knew, oh my God, we have electric Tesla vehicles, and when she was a little girl, there was dirt roads everywhere, and people were just starting to buy vehicles, and moving on from horse-drawn wagons and such. And now it's a completely different world. And he made a comment, yeah, but they also drive her crazy. And, maybe there's a limit to your life for a reason. Maybe you're supposed to pass on after a certain time, because things of the world become too overwhelming.
Yeah. You want me to talk a while?
Sure. I think we had a glass of water.
Yeah, okay. And and speaking of the way the world changes, while he was talking, you saw me get up and move away. I've got a DJI Osmo pocket camera, and I was just setting it up over there. Which, you talk about the way of the world. Trish brought up the other day, remember the first time you saw a Polaroid camera that would develop a picture.
Mm-hmm.
And we would take a picture, we would all stand around, and we'd be like, you have to wait for so long, and then they'd peel off the paper, and we'd go, whoa, look at it, And I started thinking about, imagine what it was like when the electric stove came out.
Yep.
Because before that time, everything that had ever been cooked had been cooked with fire. And then one day they run a wire to your house, and they bring in this big thing, and they don't even call it a stove, they call it a range. And you could put a pot on it and turn this little thing, and the eye would turn red, and the water would boil, and no fire. I mean, we don't think about those kind of things as being new and modern, but for my mom and dad, that would have been a huge thing.
I wonder if they, I wasn't around then obviously, but I wonder if they sold it as, this is going to be a much safer way for you to cook a
much safer
meal.
way, no flame, no fire.
Yeah.
Back in the old days, you literally had a great big metal thing with a big fire in it, and you had to, and there was a whole art to controlling the fire. We've got a lady in our church that's still, and this is up in Maine where it's really cold, and she operates her whole house around the stove. She heats the house, she cooks on it year round, and she has to be controlling that fire all the time. Whereas people of our generation, we don't even know how that works.
Yeah,
almost. Maybe with the barbecue grill a little bit, you've gotten pretty good at it, but we don't have to, keep this. It isn't the heartbeat of our home anymore the way it is.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, and I remember the Polaroid when it turned to the, what do they call it, the Instamatic Polaroid, where it would print off and you just waited for it to develop in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
We would all take a picture and gather around and watch it and go, I can't wait till this thing comes out. Oh, look, it's coming, look. And then sometimes you thought, what if I shake it? I bet it'll come faster, so you'd shake it. I don't actually think that actually did anything. But
they used to have a little box. You take it out and you put it in a little box. I don't know why. I think it was supposed to keep it dark while it was developing or something.
Yeah.
All these little different things.
Maybe.
They did with all that.
But now we literally have filters that make you look like puppy dogs or unicorns.
Well, negatives aren't going to be around in the future.
I don't know. They're around now.
Everything. That's what I mean. Everything goes into your computer, and if someone swipes a magnet across your disk drive, all that's gone.
Yeah.
Letters. My wife got a handwritten letter the other day from one of her girlfriends, and it was it came in the mail and it's several pages long, and she sat down and read it out loud to me, and this was a big event. And historians, they go back and they find letters that soldiers sent home from the Civil War, World War II, and all this thing, and it becomes part of history. Now, you think that, well, I suppose politically they are looking at emails, aren't they?
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole, all of that is, that whole trunk full of old pictures and negatives and things that I got under my stairs at home is now on a little computer disk about the size of a pack of cigarettes, and if it ever stops working, all that's lost. Of course, if the house burns down, all the stuff in the trunk's lost too. But it's really neat to open those books up and look at it.
Well, there's a discussion among scientists that they're thinking that the Earth is actually way older than they previously thought, and that there were civilizations before the civilizations that they thought. there's an archaeology find in Turkey inside of a mountain called Göbekli Tepe, and in there they're finding that life existed some 36,000 years before they ever thought life ever existed. And they were an advanced civilization that had advanced architecture abilities and stuff like that. And it sort of raises the question of, what if there was an entire civilization that just got wiped out by a cataclysmic meteor event, and they were already digital? Everything got reset because everything melted and vaporized, and all of their records were gone. And yet they find this ancient civilization with this architecture and stuff, and the stone part is what didn't go away. You know, the stone part gives them tells the story of their civilization. And the crazy part is they had barricaded themselves inside of this mountain in a cavern, and there's proof that they barricaded it from both sides because they knew that this cataclysmic event was coming. Yeah. They knew ahead of time enough time to reinforce what they had salvaged inside this mountain, and they barricaded it from both sides. There's proof of the way they could tell of the way it was structured, that people actually volunteered to be outside and to die, but to preserve the history of their people and hopefully their people. They barricaded on the outside while people inside were continuing to barricade the inside to keep out what was going to happen. And it just amazes me because it sort of throws into the whole cog of, oh, we know what life is, we know where we came from, we know this, we know that. And as soon as you say we know, it's usually when the world throws you a curveball and you realize, oh, I don't know anything.
We don't know nothing.
We've just been making this crap up as we go along. And that seems to be the way of things, you know, just about the time you think you know what's going on is when you realize, I don't know anything. It's sort of like being a kid. When you're a kid at a certain age, you're like, I know everything. You ain't got to tell me nothing. And then you get older and you become a parent and you realize, man, I really don't know that much.
That's where belief in God comes in really handy, because my dad's favorite thing was, you know, it's all in God's hands. I'm not going to worry about it. But if you were a worrisome person, there's so many things going on. You could just lose your mind, because you know too much, or you see too much, or like you said, things are changing too much, or you're afraid of what could happen or what might happen. And just and I can just picture Dad saying, "God will take care of it. End of story. Not going to think about it anymore. We're moving on."
You know, there is a pleasantness in that, because it allows you to sleep well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm a firm believer that whatever you take into your life, you know, the whole saying of sow a seed and you get what you reap what you sow.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah. So, you know, Bignell and I talked about this. He was saying how when he went to bed, he had the most horrible nightmares. He couldn't sleep. It was making him crazy. And I realized that his regular routine was to watch Fox News for the last 3 hours of his night every night. And their whole deal is that they're going to sell you on fear. They want you to tune in tomorrow to find out what's going to get you. And it's always the other guys, you know, and of course he consumed that just like you consume a meal, and then go to bed and wonder why it was keeping him awake. And I said, this is the seed you're sowing. You're allowing them to plant that seed inside your head.
Have you noticed we don't have weather anymore? We have cataclysmic meteorological events, and it's always a huge thing is about
the
to happen. It's going to be
storm.
A polar vortex. We could get as much as a foot of snow. I saw a guy the other day, he was superimplanted on all these pictures of avalanches and stuff. I'm thinking, you just don't see a weatherman just in a bad coat just saying, yeah, you might get a little rain over here today, and tomorrow, or lucky the sun will come out. That little cardboard sun pops on the screen. You know, all that's gone. Now it's all cataclysmic events, and there's no normal weather anymore. Yeah. Except that it's the same weather. We're just being
sold
up about it.
Yeah, it's amping up the selling. You got to market it well.
Everything is for sale, including what you think about what might happen in the world.
We can think about like TV channels. I think that the Weather Channel is actually owned by NBC, and the only time they get viewership is when there's a cataclysmic event. Oh, you got to tune in there because they got 24-hour coverage. And they've tried to, over the years, like before I got rid of my cable, I realized that they tried to have television shows where they would just talk about weather that happened. And they're like, well, people like watching it. And that's probably true. There's probably people out there that just enjoy watching cataclysmic rain.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh yeah, there was that, you know, that horrible storm to kill all those people. Let's watch that.
I'm doing a strip here on live, on your live podcast. Are we live? We're not live.
We're not live.
Good. I'm not take my phone. It's just a layer.
If I did, that would be a paywall. And
I'll
guys do a paywall to see.
I'll take off my best dirty shirt.
I'm no idiot. I know how this works. But yeah, I mean, you know, you make a show out of anything, pretty much. I mean, look at us here. We're doing a show about nothing.
Well, you know, my YouTube viewers watch me every day. Not all of them, but some of them do watch every day and comment every day and have been doing it for years. And they'll tell me, I've been watching your videos since you made that first video, 63 Impala, that's how we got started. Since you made that first video that you made for your son with the Rambler where you were adjusting the valves and there's nothing happening on my channel.
Yeah. I'm
like Seinfeld. You know, Seinfeld had an episode about it, it's all about nothing. Well, my channel's all about nothing. It's just like some old guy and whatever I decide to do during the day or whatever I decide to say. It's nothing cataclysmic.
Yeah.
No big deal. And people watch it.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Well.
And they say, hey, this is the best thing on TV. Not on TV, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I think people just get sick of being...
and YouTube has kind of turned into the new TV because people will tune into it to see their favorite people and interact with their lives in some way. And people feel connected. You know, the thing about the you in YouTube is you're making it.
Yeah.
You get to be your own star. You know, and a lot of people forget that whenever they start a channel or whenever they start doing anything social media-wise, is they forget the fact that they're the star of their own show. They just have to play the part. You have to interact with people. You have to talk to people. And I get the same kind of thing. You know, I'll do a podcast video and people comment and be like, this guy just rambles about nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, make your own stuff. See how you do.
we met up. We were down in Florida last week. We met up with Eric Paulson.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know Eric.
Yeah.
He works at Disney World.
Oh, really?
Yes. And he has space in his driveway for us to park our RV, and we have an open invitation to come down and park in his driveway, and he'll show us Disney World.
Whoa.
Now, I know Dolores is going to, when she hears this, she's going to be like, can I get in your camper and go with you?
Holy cow, that'd be the best way to see it.
We had breakfast with him, and he said, the first time I ever saw you, you and your wife were doing the happy dance. So we had breakfast together, and when we got through, we went out and I set the camera up on top of his Jeep, and we did the happy dance in the parking lot of a little restaurant down in Salt Springs, Florida, and I'm going to be putting it up on YouTube probably tomorrow.
That's awesome.
But it's like, it's the coolest thing, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right on.
But anyway, what were we talking about before we got on?
Eric is our new gateway to Disney World.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Hey, Eric, hit me up. My wife and I come down here all the time.
Eric, his wife is like a Disney fanatic.
We did the Keys to the Kingdom tour last time. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, we told him that she does everything.
We actually made a declaration after we went this past year, because we've been so many years in a row. We actually, on the trip, said, hey, how about this year? Let's not go. Let's wait a while. And Dad's showing off the local fair. Little Disney. I have a Mickey Mouse sitting under a toadstool that somebody bought.
Just for effect.
Yeah. But yeah, we were on vacation, and we had actually done the Keys to the Kingdom tour, did the whole week there, and we made a comment, how about let's take a year off and let's just wait, because, you know, they're getting ready to open up Star Wars this coming year, and the place is just going to be ridiculously packed. Let's wait until that kind of dies down and go to next year. That way it's, you know, we'll be more excited about it, and the crowds will be less, and that kind of stuff.
How'd that work out?
Well, my buddy Greg happened to contact me, and you guys have heard Greg on the podcast here. Him and his wife have the opportunity to go on a trip because their boss just happened to give them a vacation and say, hey, listen, you know, I'm treating everybody to go to Disney. He's like, so we're going in October. And, I think he said October. Anyway, it's in the fall. He's got to find the exact dates out. But he's like, we'd like it if you guys could come with us. And I was like, I could do that. That could be fun. We could definitely do that. He goes, I'm thinking we stay a few more days. I'm like, well, you'll definitely have to stay a few more days. Because he said that they're only paying for 2 days. Their boss is. And I was like, you know, the more days you stay, the cheaper it is, and there's definitely way more to see than you can get in 2 days. And I just saw recently that the new Star Wars land at Disney Hollywood Studios is opening up in late August. So it'll be open by the time they go, which is really cool. I've been looking at a lot of stuff online about the way the land is built and how it's the largest expansion Disney's ever done, and the rides look incredible. The queues look incredible. There's one ride apparently where you just keep progressing through the Star Wars universe. You start off like as a group of 64, and then they dwindle you down to like 32, and then they dwindle you down to like 16 or whatever the number is. But in each stage you do different things, and it's like an 8-hour continual thing that you do, where each part of it, you're deeper and deeper into the Star Wars universe. And I'm like,
Really?
holy crap, I want to do that.
I can just see you doing it.
Yeah, and there's hotels that they're developing right now that are going to be all Star Wars themed. And supposedly, whenever they're done with this, you could stay your entire vacation in the hotel, living as a Star Wars character, because they'll give you interesting tasks that you can do, kind of like living like a video game. You basically check in, and you go through a thing where you can pick your identity if you're going to be, and it's whatever your interests are, and then the hotel will actually have no outside windows. It'll look like you're in outer space, and you get to earn your way up to be a bounty hunter or a Sith Lord or a Jedi or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that is so cool! That is so cool! That's all we really wanted this whole time. Even with our two-dimensional video games, we all just wanted to be in Star Wars and experience that. And I think when that hits, it's going to be like, holy cow! I had no idea it would grow this big, but I'm excited about it.
So you talk about how things have changed now. When I was a kid, Walt Disney was alive. He had a television show that would come on every Sunday night, which was awful because we went to church every Sunday night. Always had to miss it. But we wanted to see it so bad, and sometimes we would get to. And it would be things like he might set up a camera in front of a flower and take time-lapse photos and then put them all together, and you'd be able to watch this flower bloom. And this would be on, on TV. At first, it was all black and white. I can distinctly remember Walt Disney in black and white. But then the color came. It's like, whoa! And you see this flower open up, and we were like, look! Like you were talking about,
Apparently, I did the behind-the-scenes tour, and he invested in this the company that came out with the Technicolor. They got together with him because they both needed something. Technicolor had come out with this technology to make it look very vibrant and very beautiful in color.
Yeah.
But they didn't have anybody that was going to watch anything they made. And they were like, we need content to show off what we can do.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I need some money to help my park open up. And if you guys invest in my park, then I'll make this much material for you.
Yeah.
That's how the TV show started.
Yeah.
Was he got invested in them, and he said, I'll put you on my show. I'll use your technology exclusively for my show.
Yeah.
And they did an exclusive contract for years. All of his stuff was done through that Technicolor group, and it would help fund him opening the park, and then he helped them increase their portfolio of people watching them and going, oh, I want this technology. How do I get this
had
technology?
to go out and buy the TVs to get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It just boosted the economy all around, which is amazing. But, it's